welcome to Old School. Today we're going to be in PE class. As I have said previously, my book parallels Old School, and I go over in the physical quadrant my journey, my weight loss journey, but also a health journey. So this will be round one of supplementation and some other information in regard to the keto and various things I did at that time. And then we'll progress in round 2 and 3 to further on in the journey all the way up till where I'm at now. I want to start off with some housekeeping that I am not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a trainer, any of that. I have been a certified nutritionist, and I am a notorious science geek and love to drill down and really get into what is going on with anything I put in or on my body or whatever I might do working out. And so just that disclaimer, I'm not telling you to take anything. I'm not telling you to work out a certain way. I'm not telling you to take on a certain lifestyle, which is my preference to calling something a diet, if you will. So I just want to put that out there. The thing is that it's paralleling the book, and I'm wanting to describe what went down for my part of the journey. If this sounds like something that could be a lifestyle for you based on where you are, what season you're in, then I would highly recommend that you do exactly what I did before I started any of this. And that is I have gone to a naturopath for pretty much most of my adult life. One in particular, the one I go to right now, it was a nurse practitioner and an RN. So she's holistic in her approach. She doesn't just, go straight for whatever is natural, although I don't have a problem with that if that's how our conversation starts out, that we look at what am I eating and what has changed there, what stressors, what things are going on in my life that might be impacting my body. And as I walk through this supplement part of my journey, you'll see that where I'm at currently really has taken a big leap into the drill down on how our cells and how our bodies operate and how they break down the nutrients and utilize them. I thought I had a pretty good understanding when I had my GNC franchises. I got certified as a nutritionist, and I was getting every kind of industry science periodicals that were out there. I was reading the white papers on everything that before I would sell it, before I would take it on. And there was a certain amount of stuff we had to take on because we were franchisees. So we had to have those items on the shelf. But if it was something that I truly had a protest for, I managed to be able to have that conversation with them and not have to carry that specifically. And there wasn't a lot of those. Mostly what I was concerned with is wanting to make sure that how it was portrayed to our customers. Once the internet started to explode, customers would come in and be like, I want that pill that gets rid of a fat belly. And I'd joke with them and say, oh yeah, I want the one for big butt and thighs too. And so just because something's on the internet doesn't make it true. And so I wanted to be truthful, though. I wanted to be straight up with our customers. And when I would sit down and go over nutrition and supplementation and whatever with individuals, I wanted my ducks in a row. Now, again, it was in the, confines and the mechanism of the fact that I was a certified nutritionist, but I was not a doctor, and I never let somebody start off without, talking to their doctor. Go get your baseline blood work. Go get your body composition. And our main GNC was, our landlord was Arizona State University, which in their sports nutrition, I don't know what you'd call it, lab or whatever, had the type of body composition testing where they submerge you. And that, as I understand it now, I'm sure there's probably something even more exciting now, but at the time, that was like 100% the most accurate body composition way to test. And who can do that? Who has that? You know, there's a bathroom scale in my bathroom. I don't have I mean, I do have a pool. But anyway, so that was just get your body composition somehow. Like, I have a scale, and it's one of those that you're barefoot and has the little pads, and it can tell you like your water, your bone, your muscle, and your fat. Is it 100% accurate? Probably not, but it's accurate. It's consistently inaccurate. So that's what I've always told people. You know, if I weigh myself in either naked or whatever pieces of clothing the same way every, say, Monday morning, which is what I do, then you're going to be consistent. So even if it's off and you might go to the doctor and they weigh you and you want to get upset because they're like a couple pounds different, the reality is it's a consistency. So, you know, whatever method you use to get that baseline and get those measurements. So I did that when I was, when we had our GNC, and that is what I do for myself and anyone who would ask. So in class today that, you know, I've had the previous video talking about going and getting your blood work, going and getting your baseline BMI, because you have to understand where you're starting from and what you're trying to do. Losing weight is easy. You can make a couple tweaks and dump some water weight or dump some weight, and it could be partially muscle. You might get lucky and a little bit of it's fat. But losing body fat and retaining muscle or even building on the muscle, that's another can of worms altogether. And that's harder. And that's where the rubber meets the road. And a lot of people don't want to deal with that. They want the quick fix. And none of my supplementation ever, even when we had our GNCs, was ever a quick fix, was ever this pill that was going to replace good old elbow grease and the proper things. You build the muscle in the gym, you lose fat in the kitchen. You know, I know people out there want to do hundreds of hours of cardio. That has never been really my thing. And as I've matured, I've discovered that actually the science has gone down that rabbit hole and determined that all that cardio for someone, say, over 45 or over 50, isn't really the best route. So that's a whole nother conversation that I'll be having as we move through these rounds of the supplementation. But out of the gate, I have said, it's in the book as well, that the couple of weeks after my mother passed, the day before my birthday, I am a stress not eater, and I dropped 12 pounds. And that kind of kick-started things because I was in such a low-level sadness, in this funk, and I you know, that kind of gave me a little bit of a charge. It was like, okay, where did that come from? Because I had been, for the previous 5 years, eliminating entire food groups, doing whatever combinations of various things. I was researching and attempting whatever it took as a lifestyle change. But I was also nearing the end of menopause. And post-menopause is a whole nother place to actual being in menopause or being a healthy, vibrant, you know, childbearing years young woman who still has a cycle. All very different ways that your body reacts to things, but also how your cells react to processing those hormones as well. So, you know, it just felt like this all of a sudden kick in the pants, if you will. And I thought, well, that's, you know, exciting. Let's keep that rolling. And my friend Holly had been doing, I call it her own keto, but she was just doing eliminate sugar and go pretty low carb. So, and the reality is that keto was a dirty keto that I was doing. I was allowing myself way more cheese or bacon or some of the types of fat that weren't necessarily the high quality, high end. So a perfect or a clean keto, they were more of on the lazy or dirty keto end of the spectrum. There's typically, I think, when I see most people talk about it, like 10 versions of keto. And, you know, from really lazy to to perfect. And I was on the lower end, but maybe not the lowest. I made sure that I was getting good fats, so that was what kicked in next after that initial weight loss from my mom passing. And I, didn't get pickier with my food until after the end of the year. So this was August, was when my mom passed. So through December of that year, it was 2018, I lost 30 pounds. And it was bizarre. I mean, for me, considering what I had competed in bodybuilding, I had done so many things throughout the years. I thought this was, this was impossible. And yet here it was, and it was comfortably simple. And I did have my body composition checked to make sure that it wasn't just that the good fats were satiating me and maybe I was eating less calories, because I did the macros. I didn't pee on any little strips or check my ketones all the time, but I did the macros and I stuck to them clean. I'm a rule follower, so I'm pretty good about that. And then I realized too from my bodybuilding years that if I wanted to retain the muscle, that my protein needed to be probably a little higher for the goals I had set. And then the good fat, that was just so hard to try and get as much of it as I needed to. And I didn't want to be in caloric deficit, because that isn't the point. I mean, yes, you may be because of, your fat satiation, but still that isn't the ultimate point. It's, lowering those carbs, getting the sugar out. And so I was getting supplements, and I can't find them anymore. But they were these ones called F-bombs. And it was nut butters that had been put together and in a little packet, like the goo packets when you do a marathon where you could just squirt it in your mouth. And it was great, because just trying to eat that much, I've never been somebody who, even when, if you might have looked at me and thought maybe she eats a little more than she should, I've just never been somebody who can just eat a whole ton. I just don't. A buffet never is, I'm not going to get my money's worth out of that. So I had to find ways in a smaller quantity to get those good fat calories. So I would do that. And I was eating whole avocados and trying to keep things going in that direction as well. With that kind of weight loss, your skin as you mature is already changing. And so I felt the need to complement a couple of things. One, I needed to support the underlying substructure of my skin, because when that fat is leaving, your skin is going to sag maybe, and already in a mature space and time, you're already losing your collagen. And I started to take a protein supplement called a collagen supplement by Ancient Nutrition. I love it. It was recommended. I follow Dr. Axe. I follow Thomas DeLauer. I follow Mindy Pels. I mean, all these people have their recommendations. They have companies that give them, of course, monetize that, and that's their thing. That's not necessarily my gig. If any of these companies would like to give me some product, I'd be thrilled with that. But anyway, Ancient Nutrition, I love their collagen. I felt very comfortably that I was breaking it down. I was utilizing it, and you could see it in multiple areas. My hair was growing ridiculously. For women who color their hair, you know what I'm talking about. You don't want to have to go back every week, but it was just getting crazy, and my nails. And also I was seeing a good result in regard to the skin, my skin overall, my body. And collagen is your most predominant protein, and if you take it in the hydrolyzed form, or if you even take it it's in certain foods, meats and different things, it is going to shore things up, especially if your body can get that and walk that process that it generates in creating the fat pads and the collagen, by absorbing it and then causing your body to start to generate it for itself. And I love that. And I believe that, yes, we should eat the bulk of our nutrition for sure. But back in like 1936, it was submitted into Congress that our soil wasn't what it should be. we weren't doing what they did in the Bible, resting a field or changing the crops, and like resting a field every 7 years, rotating the crops, and getting the nutrients back in. We were so busy producing food as fast as we possibly can that we weren't getting the nutrients from our food anymore. Chromium is a huge one. That chromium helps so much in regulating your blood sugar, your insulin, and we have so many incidents of diabetes, and some of that is weight related to our sedentary lifestyles, so much sugar and refined carbs and processed foods, but it's also the fact that we're not getting from our food the things that we're helping regulate that as well. So having gone to a nutrition or a naturopath and had my own background in nutrition, there are certain supplements that I feel you just have to take in support of what I'm eating. And I eat pretty clean. Yes, it was a dirty keto, but probably the dirtiest part of it was that I was having more cheese than I probably should have, and more bacon, as opposed to leaning on the good fats. And a lot of people get frustrated and say that keto raises your cholesterol, and there's just all those myths out there. And the funny thing is my entire life I've had excessively low cholesterol, and nobody does any research on that. Nobody does any research about how to get that back up. While they do talk about taking lecithin, which is in egg yolks, to try and raise your good cholesterol. And I, even now, which I'll talk more about in like round 3 of the supplements, take an actual protein supplement called Yoked that has, it's from lecithin. But I did not have an increase in my cholesterol at all the entire time I've been on keto. I did Atkins years ago. Never has it impacted me that way. It's not just fat that raises your cholesterol, folks. You got to do your drill down, do your research. It's the combinations of fat, good or bad, with refined carbs or sugars, and what system you're turning on in your body that causes that to build up or causes you to get the plaque in your arteries and all of that. It's those combinations that create those bad environments, not a keto lifestyle. But again, I am not telling you to do something or not do something. I'm telling you what worked for me, and that you should always go get baseline things done and talk with your own doctor about what makes sense holistically and overall. At the same time I was taking the collagen protein, because I started, working out, and I was walking a lot at that time. Again, trying to keep up the macros, and I'm just not being able to just sit there and chew enough. I was taking Isopure. It's not necessarily purely keto, so that was another part of the lazy keto. But I'd combine it with the Ancient Nutrition collagen. I put in powdered calcium, magnesium. I have a vitamin. It's a powder. It's called All-in-One, and it is awesome. It has digestive enzymes. It has amino acids. It's got minerals, including your trace minerals and your vitamins. And being in a powdered form like that, you're not having to break down a tablet or a capsule and hope that you do, and utilize the nutrients. Now, if your body's got issues and your cells have issues, you may not break it down either, but this was just a more readily available form, and I love it that way. I, read that report years ago, again, reading all the science documents when I had the GNC, about how the companies that have the porta potties after a marathon, so gross, but it's still, when they wash them out, how there was just a pile of half dissolved multivitamins or supplements. It's, you have to know what form to get them in, what cofactors you need to take for them to get broken down and get utilized by your body. Otherwise, you're spending a bunch of money and just, it's going straight through you. So I personally, any chance I get, like things in a powder form. I do like things in tinctures or liquid. There are some capsules I take. I take a zinc and a vitamin D that are pharmaceutical grade from my naturopath. They are complementary to the collagen, to my immune system. I take another, I love this stuff. It's a dermal repair complex. I'm sure you've seen in social media, Beverly Hills MD, that doctor that talks about what you can do as opposed to a facelift or something, which I don't know. I'm not going to rule that out down the road. But anyway, it is collagen, but it's some other cofactors and hyaluronic acid in a supplement in hydrolyzed form, so that it is entering your system. You are utilizing the nutrients, and it is generating the collagen. Our bodies just start to slow down in that process as we are maturing. And this, I cannot tell you, was so pivotal. People were commenting, and a lot of people tell me I look younger than my age. And I do a little Botox, and I've done some fillers, but prior to even starting those, I was taking this supplement. And what it was doing, because of the fat loss that I had had, to rebuild was incredible. I just absolutely can't say enough about this. The amount of other injectables I may do is minimal because of taking the collagen that I take and letting my body do its thing, producing the collagen from the hyaluronic acid. And that's what fillers are too. Everybody wants to get into that argument out there, but the reality is that hyaluronic acid is helping your body rejuvenate its own collagen production, and being able to do that subdermally is beautiful. So anyway, this is the oh, and then I have a turmeric daily, because I was walking and hiking a lot, and my joints, some of the inflammation, some of the recovery from that, love that. And I take this one because it's a powder and it comes with its cofactors. You truly, with turmeric, need to have this black pepper, and this one happens to have a cherry bark in it, and they're both cofactors to your body's utilization of the turmeric for that inflammation and for that joint pain. And this was what I did out of the gate. These are the ones that I was doing for that first through the end of 2018 to just supplement, to keep my immune system up. For anything, there's not really a whole lot. Well, there's no nutritional value in like sugar or refined carbs that I was missing out on. I was trying to get as much as I could from my food. You are getting rid of a lot of the fruit category and a lot of the higher carb veggie category, but still lots of cruciferous vegetables. Berries are still awesome and stay in the keto realm. And so for me, it was comfortable, it felt easy, and being able to know that I had all my other nutrients covered with what I was doing, this was perfect for me. So this was round one. So round two will cover once I got into 2019, and I decided that I love the gym. I love lifting weights. I love resistance training. I love all of that beyond any cardio you can show me. No aerobics, no CrossFit, all of that. All of them fabulous, don't get me wrong. But I have always loved, back when I competed in bodybuilding, I did some powerlifting in preparation and just loved it. And that has always been what gets my juices flowing for motivation for my health. So I switch and get a trainer and start to, manipulate my macros a little bit to make sure that I'm retaining the muscle, and we're off to the races in round two. So pretty basic for round one. Just again, not telling you, hey, you have to take this or that, or that you have to do keto, but this is what worked for me. And this worked in this season of life. So actual results may vary depending on where you're at. If you would like to know the specific names or where I get some of the supplements or where I went to get the macros put together and to kind of lay things out for myself, comment down in the comments, and I'd love to engage with you. And I'm happy to tell you my thoughts on some things with the full knowledge that I'm not a doctor, I'm not a trainer, I'm not a certified nutritionist anymore. I'm just somebody who has done the drill down, and through my book and through just my life, I've had people in my spheres of influence want to know what the scoop was. So that's what I'm doing here at Old School. Between each of the quadrants, I'm going to be covering things that parallel in the book that talk about how I've been walked through some of the things I've been through in physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And a lot of where my body has ended up had a lot to do with the things that happened to me as a child. So we'll cover some of that in another class. Today was mostly about round one of the supplementation that I take along with what I'm doing with my food. So again, if you want to engage in the comments, and I can tell you where I go and get good deals on all my supplements, and on get my information in regard to keto and the people I follow and use as inspiration, but also great information, who are trainers, who are doctors, who do drill down on the science as well. I'm geeky like that, and that's going to be the type of people I'm going to follow. So thank you for coming to class today. If you like what's happening here and you want to keep seeing it, click the like, click the subscribe, hit the bell if you want a notification that the next round is coming through. And just, I'm enjoying myself here. This is a new comfort zone. I'm just out of that, but that's where we grow. So happy to see you here, and would love to engage and have conversation with you. And we'll see you the next time around for round two, the supplements. So thank you for coming to class, and class dismissed.